Okay, today we are going to talk about how to paint a flat wash. A wash is simply the term for applying a layer of wet paint, and the goal of a flat wash is to create a smooth, even wash of one color. We will be doing two washes today. To start out, we'll be using a taped off area to create a crisp edged rectangle. When using tape, press firmly around the edges or the water will seep under, especially in the corners where the tape layers overlap. Also, you will want to paint with your board at an angle. The exact degree doesn't really matter, but it should be somewhere between about 15 on the low end to like 40 degrees, 45. I'm using two binders underneath to prop my board up. The reason for painting on an angle is to keep the watercolor flowing in a consistent direction. One common mistake that people make when trying to create a flat wash is changing the direction of the board and allowing wet paint to flow back into semi-dried areas of the wash. This is how you end up with those mushroom cloud blooms in your watercolor. The consistency of your paint should be pretty creamy if you want to have rich color, like whole milk or maybe even cream. If it's too watered down, if it's like skim milk, then you might have to end up doing two layers, which isn't a bad thing, but it'll take more time, I suppose. So, also, the second reason that we're painting at an angle is to create a good bead. A bead is a horizontal pool of wet paint. It looks like this. If your bead is too steep, your bead will likely drip. So that's why we don't want to go over about 45 degrees or so. If you're painting it too flat of a surface, so like under 10 degrees, if it's too flat, you won't have any control over the bead, and that's how you end up with those blooms in your wash. So keep just painting layer after layer of paint. I just go right into the bottom of the bead and pull it down, and keep adding to the bead if you need to. But when you get to the end of your wash, you'll want to use a paper towel and dry your brush. Your brush will now be thirsty, so that now you can set the tip of your brush into the bead and soak up the remaining liquid. Of course, you won't always want to paint in a taped off rectangle. So next we're going to do an odd shape. So we're going to just draw a random odd shape. We're going to make just a letter S shape. So we'll draw that first. So when you paint in an odd shape, you want to plan out where you're going to start your painting, your wash, and where you're going to end it. Once you have a plan, then you can go ahead and start to paint. But you're going to probably want to turn your paper slightly in different angles as you go, so that you can keep your bead flowing downhill consistently. You don't want to totally turn it upside down, or else you'll possibly get some backflow. But we can go ahead and start it at this angle. So painting in an odd shape is just like painting in a rectangle. You want to do the same thing, just follow your bead all the way down throughout the shape You'll have to turn it, possibly, or just paint a different shape. But it's pretty much the same idea as painting in a rectangle. One thing I should mention, if you do make a mistake, sometimes you have a bubble that's in your paint, or maybe there's a hair that falls on it, or just a little speck of something. If something like that happens, just let it go. Don't worry about it. Let it sit there and dry. Once it's dry, you can go ahead and try to fix those things. Usually if it's something like a hair, once it's dry, it'll just fall right off. But if you try to fix it while it's still wet, that will result in a mistake. It'll be a lot harder to fix. So let little tiny things like that go, and just keep your washes moving forward. And when you get to the end of this wash, you do the exact same thing. Just finish it off and dry off your brush and just soak up any excess paint. Don't soak up too much, or else you can dry lighter than the rest of the wash, but just soak up the excess. Alright, and there we go. There's the flat wash. Good luck with your painting.